hotel, and the psychic friend grabs him and says, "That woman over there is not a human being." And they look over, and there's this absolutely beautiful blonde woman in this gorgeous blue outfit. It's Las Vegas, of course. You see this kind of thing. But the friend is like, she's something about her. So the psychic friend and his wife go down an escalator to get away, and the colonel stays behind a little bit, and he's looking at this woman, and she's like maybe 25 feet away, not that far, and he's just looking at her. And then he said to me, "I heard her in my mind," essentially saying, "What do you think you're looking at? Just go about your business." So, something like that. That was the feeling he got. And it was startling to him. He's like, where did that come from? And then he said at that moment, she was joined by this beautiful blonde-haired man, also in blue. I'm thinking maybe, are they Cirque du Soleil? Who knows what they are, right? But anyway, he says the man's with her, they're conferring. He can't hear anything at this time. And then they start walking toward where he is at the escalator. And he's thinking, great, I'm going to talk to them. I'm going to confront them, is what he's thinking. So they walk by him, and he does nothing at all. He just like stands there, dumbfounded. They go down the escalator, but then he gets behind them on the escalator. And he says, and I heard them again in my mind. I'm like, well, what did you hear? He said, well, it was almost like a conversation. It's like, he can hear us. He's not part of the program, something like that. We can ignore him. It was, I don't know if it was an exact verbal English that he got this or some kind of feeling, but this is what he got. By the way,
Greetings, welcome to Ancient Library Tome number 5, or part 3 of Mysteries Surrounding UFOs and Aliens. In this tome I want to add additional intel, and most prevalent in this episode going to be hypothetical attempts to imagine a potential reality or parts of one. In this video I'm going to explore the general aspect of life related to the UFO field, or I'm at least trying to. I'm going to start with patterns in which life emerges. Imagine we're starting on an Earth-like planet which got all the requirements to host life on a baseline threshold, like basically the Earth does. The first stuff which is going to be evolving is nature itself. I would say like the plant kingdom. It's very basic for every following life to exist. And it's regulating the atmosphere and providing nutrition for the next step of life. And there's like mushrooms with a connection below the earth, and it's all like a sensitive system, which is definitely alive in some sense. So that's like, I would say, the lowest form of life. Not like low is determining a quality here, more like in terms of complicated consciousness, I would say. The next thing which is going to follow, or one last thing, like I said, it's providing nutrition in terms of like in fruits or vegetables, other like animals or humans later can harvest. And if they keep the balance, it's just providing energy, if you will say so. The second kingdom is, like I touched, the animal kingdom. It's operating on a lower consciousness like humans, but like I said, it's not a quality thing here. It's like you got another operation system on your computer, like you're using Linux or you're using Windows. And if you say Windows, it's not even true, but if you say Windows is more complicated and more in-depth, and you got Windows, which is maybe the animals, where I got like a baseline operation system basically saying survival of the fittest, and you go through the cycle and recreate and so on. The animal kingdom can only exist if you got nature and if you got plants and if you got an atmosphere, at least in this planet and life as we know right now. Another thing is, like, I would say dinosaurs are considered in the animal kingdom as well. It's been said that on this planet dinosaurs were the ruling species, and they were like big, resistant, old animals, basically. And if there wasn't an extinction event, we might not even exist here right now. The next kingdom, I would say it's the human kingdom. The humans are more like self-aware animals, in some aspect. I mean, people think we derived from apes. I got a different opinion on that, but I can't say this. Like I'm getting attacked from all over. But I got just an opinion. I'm no scientist or something, but my opinion is it's the other way around. I think apes came after the humans. But yeah, that's a topic for another day. I mean, we got a deeper understanding than animals. Basically, like we know that we die. We got like a higher understanding of life itself. I mean, we can like create clocks and measure time, and animals can measure time, but only on the sun. And if it's day or night time, like it's not so specific. But some animals can better survive than some humans in this day and age. That's like clear. I think, my personal opinion is humans got a higher burden and higher responsibility than animals, and need to care about plants and animals to, create a good world. I mean, we can speculate here. What's next? What's the next kingdom after human? I mean, we can perceive such a complicated thought. We can even collect our own, like collect information about our own life and our own future. So, but you can throw in any thoughts here. I mean, we got AI, Neuralink, we got ChatGPT, AI stuff. I mean, if you go a little steps further, you can combine this and you got like a iRobot type species. I got here some cool art pictures. I mean, everything can basically happen, and we are on the edge where we're entering a new time basically, and it's pretty important how we choose certain things, like how we operate with AI, if we do a break. And I mean, everything can go wrong, in my opinion. Okay, now I'll move to the next section, which I call humanoid type life. And my general opinion is that humans are not more special in the universe than like you encountering cats or dogs from another continent. Like it's basically the same race, but got other features. And yeah, it's like determined by the environment, the creature, I would say, or the human is built up. I mean, if we look at our planet, we got so much races. We got black, red, Asian, white, Caucasian race. We got so much different variants in genes. And like I said in the previous tome about aliens, Crix even said in this primordial soup theory, there is not enough time to get such many different strains of humans. And I'm not going too deep into different races and stuff. I think that's not the right spot here, but you get what I mean. There are some wild theories and stories more out of the UFO field, saying some races came from different star systems, like the Asian race, like the Japanese and Chinese race, and the Caucasian race, for example, are mentioned to came from outer space, and the brown and red race are more like originating from Earth and Mars. Pretty wild, but yeah, actually we got no evidence for this, so yeah, take this with a bag of salt, of course. Yeah, like I mentioned, the variance, even by mainstream science, is mentioned that it's too high for the past time humans existing on this planet. So there must be some part of the story we actually don't know. And yeah, okay. With that being said, let's move into the actual ufology subject matter here. I'm talking about cases where people are abducted or got contact with ET beings. Many cases mention grays, small, 3 feet, big head beings with gray skin, black eyes, small mouth, no genitals, and telepathic ways to communicate. I mentioned some cases here, the Betty and Barney Hill abduction case, the actual Roswell crash. Allegedly they found beings like I mentioned, and the Skinny Bob tape, which I got a picture here. It's a pretty interesting tape. Many people think it's fake, but it's so old, and some people say the movements are too advanced for CGI, so there's no way to be fake, but what do I know? Put it in the description. And just quick info on the grays. For me, they're in general more looking like an insectoid type creature. I mean, they got the big heads, the big ears. I mean, with a little bit fantasy, yeah. But the most important fact is if they got no reproduction organs, no genitals. So they're most likely like constructed biological androids to conduct more dangerous missions in distant worlds. Most likely scenario. I mean, if you consider our tech with ChatGPT, AI, and biotech operations on humans, we need some hundreds or thousand years to produce this by ourselves. But it's not even so far fetched. We can even imagine stuff like this. So that's like the one big type of aliens which are going to encounter are like the grays or the small grays. They're even like tall grays and tall whites and whatever you think of. But another main group of potential aliens I want to mention is the more human-looking beings, like mentioned in the intro by Richard Dolan. And they're like called to be Nordic-looking aliens, like normal human beings looking pretty advanced and, I don't know, like attractive, some people say. And there's some multiple stories over the last 50 years where such things appear in USA and EU, everything. On the outro, I'm gonna pick another part from the podcast up relating to the story. So it's basically 2 parts around my video. Yeah, I want to mention a few more humanoid-looking aliens, alleged encounters. And that's the thing I mentioned in the last tome from Moment of Contact, the Virginia case. I put it on the screen, the brown-looking small alien with the small horns on the head and red eyes and this like incredible stench descendant from the creature. So they're most likely living in another region, on another planet with a thicker atmosphere and, I don't know, more acid-type beings. I mean, it's pretty interesting if you look at it from this angle. I mean, we can dissect the information, but yeah, I actually want to talk about some things where we not got much evidence for, and we can do the thought experiment here. I think that's a good place. There were other encounters with like fish-like creatures, basically humans with fish features. I mean, you don't need to think much about this. They're most likely living underwater if that's real, and like basically a hybrid between fish animals and humans. So it would count into the theory that humans are not pretty rare if this like real. It's like just humanoid. It's like just a way life evolves in the universe, but because it's a nice blueprint maybe, and it's like it's getting adjusted depending on the area where the people getting brought up. Yeah. Some more humanoid-looking encounters are the alleged arch-enemy of the Incas in the in Peru in the jungle, and they like look more like 7 feet tall predator from Alien vs Predator type beings, looking more not like the usual alien. But there was some action in the last few months down there, and people say it was like miners with jetpacks. I got another theory. I think there was like drones, got like scarecrows hanging from the drones and some speakers to scare them because they shot the creature allegedly and nothing happens and they just flew away. But jetpacks are not an option at this point. It's way too loud. I mean, these miners ain't got like millions of equipment like this. That's not a James Bond movie, to be honest. And in the jungle, I don't think that's the best terrain to use a jetpack. And yeah, I don't know, the whole thing is pretty wild. But there are some legends and stories talking about these reoccurring events in South America, especially in Peru. Then, of course, I don't want to miss the reptilians. Shout out David Icke at this point. That's like an OG vanilla conspiracy alien myth at this point. I mean, there's so much conspiracies around this, Rothschild and other stuff. There's like hybrid form of humans and reptilians, and they rule around the world and something. But yeah, I don't want to talk too much about this one. I still want to mention them because they're pretty prevalent in the UFO field. And what's not really alien, but it's like another humanoid-looking thing is the so-called Bigfoot Sasquatch. Like, I'm not really doing research on this, but it appears on the UFO contents on the sites time by time. And some people said there were UFO encounters with cooperating with sightings from these Bigfoot Sasquatch beings. But yeah, as far as I know, never human has been harmed, and none of the creatures has been captured. So they actually are pretty rare and doing a pretty good job at this point. But yeah, it's like a very, very original myth at this point. And my thoughts on this, if they really exist, I think that's a result of gene experiments with humans and different animals conducted by a higher evolved civilization or something. Same like basically the apes are, in my opinion. But yeah, that's about Sasquatch on this point. Good. Now I want to change the section from humanoid type beings to energetic, ethereal, or non or partly physical types of life. Pretty long, but I want to mention a specific case here. An individual called Chris Bledsoe, which has been popping up in the UFO fields years ago, months ago, pretty actual stuff. And he's got, I'm telling his story in a I'm telling a story. Chris was out in the fields with the nature with his family. He was fishing, and like there was a forest, and it was like early afternoon or later afternoon. And at one point, he was separated from the others and was crying for help. He got a little bit depression there, describing his misery, being sick and unhappy in his life. And after some time, he said he was visited by 3 fiery-looking orbs, orange orbs, moving fast. And at first, he was so scared he was running away, but the orbs catched up easy. And to keep this compact here, he said he got like telepathic information from these orbs. I don't got so much information on this because the History Channel covered this. Like, I think on this specific phenomena is I don't know. I got mixed feelings because everything is like where you got telepathic stuff and you only see orbs and energy. I mean, there's some dark things coming to mind, like Project Bluebeam, some different techniques, MK Ultra stuff, or other scalar waves to do some creepy psyop stuff. So I'm pretty mixed feelings about this. Like he was allegedly being researched by three-letter agencies and NASA for like a decade now, and he's on social media, on the net, on YouTube, like his family, his son as well, and you can see some videos. He got these orbs all around. He claims he can call them in like almost on a daily basis, even at daytime sometimes. So he got like endless encounters with these orbs. And but he was he was writing a book. I did not read it, but I did not read it. But you can put a link in the description. But it's a very weird case, and I want to start the section because he's not the only one. There's like in the last 100 years, there's so much cases of UFO sightings containing orbs and energetic things. I mean, I got some thoughts on this. I mean, maybe it's too high evolved for us to perceive. Maybe it's just we can perceive more than a ball of light or something. And I think the more we evolve and if we encounter things in the universe, I think stuff like telepathic communication is going to be the next level. I mean, there's some psychic people on the planet. They're already doing mad things. I got a big section about remote viewing in the last Alien tomes. And yeah, it's just connected to the subject. And it's logic. If you got encounters with a higher evolved species and they do the telepathic thing, of course, man. It's like, why not? But, okay. To add some more thoughts on the energetic ethereal beings, I just want to mention quick the Skinwalker Ranch phenomena and the hitchhiker effect are matching into this as well. I mean, the Chris Bledsoe stuff is covered by a show called Beyond Skinwalker Ranch, and it's basically the same franchise. Some other people doing the so-called scientific experiments on different places, not Skinwalker Ranch. So yeah, I just want to call in mind it's pretty possible that they are doing these things with some hidden tech, exotic tech, mind manipulating toys I just mentioned. The next thing I want to mention is Dr. Stephen Greer's CE5, Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind program real quick. I'm not doing this, but it's like I said in the first tome, it's like a meditation and a remote viewing to create contact with high evolved beings. Yeah, I'm pretty skeptical about this, but there are stories where he is getting encounters with these light beings as well, proceeding from doing the CE5. And some people swear it's real, and some people's souls are deeply touched from the subject of CE5. And he's not the only one. I mean, there's some different camps of remote viewers doing this type of stuff. But yeah, he was actually doing an app for your phone. You can buy it for $10 or something. I'm not really attracted by this stuff. Then I want to mention a quick section about ghosts or similar lost soul type entities, just because it fits the subject here. I'm not pretty interested in this stuff. I mean, if we are being precise, it's like energetic beings stuck on certain places. The lore is the people most likely died there in an accident, or they don't want to leave, and they're like confused souls and they're bound to certain places, and that's why there's some trickster element and some stuff. I don't know why so much people got so much curiosity for this, because if they're like dead souls or like stuck in a random border dimension, let them alone. Like, why you want to what wisdom you want to gain for these people? They're just people like us, dead and not even on the other side. I think just leave them alone. So yeah, I think cause and effect is devaluating the subject pretty much here. And like you see, I'm interested in very strange border wooey type of subjects. So Yeah, but ghosts. I'm not a ghostbuster on this point. At this point. Okay. To wrap the section up, I'm fully aware I'm moving like on the outer ring of the UFO subject here, but I still want to do it full circle, so everything is getting covered. And I think there's either this mystical, ethereal, I don't know, sometimes transisting to religion type of stuff where you think it's ghosts, angels, demons, or like the human exotic tech side where you just do certain tech which has not been publicized, where you can manipulate the mind, send voices or stuff in your head, project stuff in the sky, project Bluebeam with hologram technique, like, and these both things together can create weird stuff. But I don't know. That's like the two sides, the two fields of this thing. Okay, now I want to move to the next section, and it's like godlike level life, too advanced to perceive, basically. So what we call like a godlike being, basically. I mean, let's imagine we would evolve to the borders of imagination, no limits through conflicts or other threats, like a perfect world. One thing on the UFO topic impresses me for the longest is the matter of the fact that we are seeing so much action in the sky for many years, and even like crashes and abductions, which seems so imperfect to me, like even a normal human being. So it creates the question, is spiritual consciousness evolution connected to scientific breakthroughs and knowledge about the universe and physics of the universe and technology? I don't know, because if like stuff is crashing so often and they need to abduct cows and people, it's so weird. Like it doesn't make any sense. But on the other hand, it doesn't make any sense to think about stuff is so far away for a simple human being. So I mean, if you think for a second, they were very high advanced aliens, potential aliens, which can shield themselves from any light, or and got different like shield from everything we can perceive as humans, and got different possibilities to withdraw their presence and teleport, like very godlike abilities. Like how we know? We can't know if we're getting observed by such a higher life or something. But I mean, back to the kingdoms I mentioned at the start. Maybe the main goal for the human kingdom is to increase wisdom and better the world around us, like plants and animals, create harmony, but use our potential, or our soul, our faith, our abilities to perceive and to move as one, as a global consciousness, and to come closer to perfection. Yeah, I would say. And there's different ways to achieve that. I mean, if the universe is endless and there's so much species around, maybe some people choose to take nuclear energy. Some people choose to take AI and Neuralink and be one with a machine, maybe. But I think one thing is certain, and that's we are on a pretty special spot right now. I mean, there were some people saying we go to Mars in a decade or something. I don't really want to go there. It's a hostile environment. We're not highly evolved to do this. On the tech side and on the spiritual side, I don't even want to start. Like, we can't have so much nukes. I have to laugh because I'm coming out of nukes on so many topics. It's an actual issue. Yeah, I mean, these perfect beings I just talked about, for us they would call gods or almighty entities. And I mean, maybe some people in the universe already reached this point, and for us they're like gods and the creating force, the creation itself. Maybe we all play a part in this, and we can do something. Man, getting very philosophical here. Yeah, since I'm gonna move to the epilogue now. Since I was going very hypothetical in this video, in general, I don't want to be so much on the final section now. But I still want to discuss and talk about things which are hard to grab and harder to prove. And I think the difference between being open-minded and insane is the ability to be fluid and not crystallize certain ideas, even if you believe in them very strong. And with that been said, I want to thank everyone listening and participating in this intense and important time frame we live in. For the outro, I got another clip from the pretty recent Dolan podcast. And yeah, I hope I ain't get violated because I'm just doing this for the good cause. I don't make any money from this. And yeah, I can recommend it. The whole podcast is like 4 hours. I never watched this program before, but it's very good interview, and Dolan is a very honorable soldier in the field of the UFO stuff. Yeah. And quick preview about the next tome, or the next alien-related tome. It's going to be a very long format video. I'm diving very deep in a very compelling happening in a case, which is consistently providing information to this day, and which has been missed by many UFO people and other people, and it's going to consume a lot of time to create this piece, but stay tuned for a lot of content relating UFOs and other interesting subjects. Yeah, so the program is now ended, and much love, LIBRA.
I have one other story I'm going to tell you about this. So I'm in
these are so weird.
Erie, Pennsylvania.
It is eerie.
Yeah. I'm doing a UFO small event. And a lot of these events, like I'll have books and I'll sell them and sign them and so forth. So I'm at my table and this very nice woman, she's like 60 maybe, she comes up to my table with her husband. And she tells me this story. She says, when I was 15 years old, it was 1965, she said. I was living in this small little town in western Pennsylvania, tiny town. Like everyone knew each other. And she said, especially in church, which is where I was when this crazy thing happened. So she's 15 years old. She's in church with her mother. And she said, this couple sat in front of them. She said they were like supermodel, male, female, blonde, in this incredible blue clothing. She's describing almost the exact same thing that the Colonel had described a year earlier when I'm talking to him in Vegas. This woman, they don't know each other, obviously. She said, yeah, they sit down in front of me in church. It's 1965. And she said I was kind of blown away by them because they were absolutely stunning, like movie star perfection, apparently. So she's looking at them. And then she said, I was looking at their clothing, which was the most incredible fabric I'd ever seen. And she said, I'm wondering, why is no one else looking at these two people? Like they are so obviously not like anyone else in this church. And she said to me, and then I heard them in my mind. And before that, she said, this was a Catholic Mass. And, you know, there's a lot of things going on in a Catholic Mass. You have to sit, kneel, you sign the cross, you have to do all these things. And she said they were looking around like they didn't really know what to do. Mm-hmm. They were kind of following along. But she said, then I heard them in my mind. And it was like a conversation. And one of them said to the other, this lady was kind of funny. She said, one of them said to the other, well, it looks like we're fitting in pretty well here. And then the other one said, yes, except for the girl behind us who can hear us. That's when I'm sure her eyebrows went back up into her forehead. And then they shut it down, like she couldn't hear anything from them. So then Mass finally ends, church service ends, and they are in the middle of the church, I think, and they get up and they're